Well, you had to watch that blockbuster till the very last scene. And in the last scene, as it often happens, there was Shahrukh Khan to hit the final blow and seal the contest. Lots of twists and turns, as we've seen in many a blockbuster. Lots of talking points. There were villains involved, where the villains sitting in the in a little box next to the commentary box pressing a button or not, we shall discuss. But let's just tell you the numbers that are involved. 165 for 7 for Kolkata. Didn't really look enough, but they seem to have sort of got things under control for large parts of that Punjab innings. But as long as KL Rahul was there, as long as they got the impetus early from Mayank Agarwal, and as long as they found Shahrukh Khan, never mind the Bollywood references, why was he not playing every single game for them? We won't know. Only they will know. That's what it was between Kolkata and Punjab. They're dancing not only in the streets of Chandigarh, but also in the streets of Mumbai, because this was a big win for that franchise as well. It keeps things a little tighter on the points table. Kolkata haven't quite run away closer to a qualification place. And there's another logjam that's built up, another middle muddle that's built up. Here we are at the end of all this confusion on Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle, to try and make some sort of sense of what happened in the last 15 minutes or so. I'm joined by Joy and Harsha. Yes, we can talk about Shahrukh Khan's brilliance.
You had to bring the Shahrukh Khan film reference. I'm just surprised you didn't bring in the Preeti Zinta reference. Because there's Preeti Zinta sitting over there. The Shahrukh and Preeti Zinta. How many movies have they done? But
yeah, well,
but we won't label
the most tempting part at the auction when they said
it was
when they actually bought him. Preeti Zinta has actually bought Shahrukh Khan, and the first call she made was to SRK himself.
The bigger twist in the story is, what was this man doing not playing? Because there's some players, you look at them and you know he's there. You know, I looked at Abdul Samad and I thought, yeah, he's there, but we'll wait and see. You look at this fellow, he just walked into a situation like he wanted to be there. You also see what kind of shots they're playing, whether he's just slogging wildly. He won't be dropped again. That's all I'll say. He will not be dropped again.
And this is Punjab now getting into the mix of trying to qualify. And yeah, we won't know what's happened inside that camp. But as Harsha said, that's the case. We will, of course, talk about the catch shortly. But before we do that, Joy, your thoughts on where Kolkata possibly lost it. Was it the fact that they just didn't have that fifth bowler, or when they should have used him?
See, I was looking at the analysis, and that fifth bowler that they had, that means a combination of Nitish Rana and Venkatesh Iyer, went in 2.4 overs. They went, 3.3 overs. They went 3 overs. 37. They went for 31 odd runs. So 37. Is it 37?
Yeah.
30 and 7. Yeah, 37.
One for 30, yeah.
Yeah. So that 37, I think, it's a crucial factor. And the other fact is you're not putting any pressure. You're taking pressure rather than putting in pressure. Now, look at that same analysis. If you had, say, listen to what Harsha was saying and, say, Shakib was there. You know, how could you have played these resources around differently? And there is a definite issue. The number of balls that Tim Seifert got, given the fact that there were so many batsmen, Sunil Narine could also have hit the ball, and what they could have done with another bowler out here. I think Kolkata is going to look at this and say, we definitely missed a trick. I mean, of course, Punjab it's whether the way they've been playing all this while and what they've been doing all this while, still contrived to almost muddle up this one as well. They lost one with 4 to take in the last over. They tried very hard to lose this one as well, but finally they stumbled across the finish line.
The other question, Harsha, again, before we come to the catch, is given what you had on the park, okay, you've made your selection issue, you've got Seifert, he hasn't had enough balls. Now, you're walking into this bowling unit with the fifth bowler. They didn't try and bring in a Nitish Rana in the first 10. Then when they had the option at the end, could they not have used up the fifth bowler the moment Aiden Markram was dismissed, for example?
Look, the moment you crossed the 15th, 16th over, you could not afford a big over because they kept it down to 9 and over. I think it was 36 of the last 4. They kept it down to 9 and over. The moment it came there, your best chance was that my 3 bowlers will take it to about 15 of the last over, maybe get a couple of wickets, 15 of the last over. Then I'll see if my fifth bowler can defend. But if that fifth bowler had come in early and conceded the sort of 13, 14 at that point, the game was over. So they had to finish that fifth bowler earlier. I think there was dew there. And that there was, you could see them wiping the ball. I think that's why he finished Chakravarti early. Because otherwise, you always wanted 1 over from Chakravarti around 16, 17. He finished Chakravarti early. I think that was the reason. He was worried about the dew, so he finished Chakravarti early, hoping he can get a wicket. But that fifth bowler came back to haunt him. And it's exactly what we said. We're not trying to be wise after the event. But if you want to pick a side that's batting that deep and bowling so thin, then they were 15 short. They had to outbat the opposition completely. So with the side they picked, 165 was not enough. Some other day, 165 might have been enough. The other thing is they missed even more. We're talking about Shakib. They missed Lockie Ferguson because Southey's gone 4 overs 40. Southey's an outstanding red ball bowler. Over 10 overs, if there's a little bit of movement for the ball, Southey's all right. But Southey's 4 overs 40. So I think they missed Ferguson a lot, and I guess they didn't have a choice with the injuries.
And what Harsha said, Joy, was something it's not about being wise after the event. We reacted the moment the toss happened. Hang on, where is the fifth bowler? In conclusion, if there is no fifth bowler, is there the extra insurance for a little bit of dew and no fifth bowler? And that insurance wasn't there. Though Owen Morgan, maybe he's just putting on a brave face, said he thought he had a pass score, Joy.
Look, I don't believe the Pasco business. The second thing is they've used Nitish Rana up front in the first 6 many times in the past. It's not that there's something they haven't tried. They've done it in the past. They've done it pretty often. So they could have easily slipped in a bowler. If they slipped in an over in the top 6, they had a chance. Secondly, Venkatesh Iyer has done wonderfully for them, even with the ball. But has he bowled so much with dew, with the ball with dew? For the control, for a guy who's already a fifth bowler, then expecting him to control the ball with that much of dew on it, I think you're expecting too much of the kid. And look, face it, at this point in time, the only people who delivered for Kolkata were the kids, were the outsiders. The Venkatesh Iyers, the Nitish Ranas, all these kids. The Rahul Tripathi held a lovely catch. All these were the guys who stood up. So in some way, I find it very ironic that Brendan McCullum's philosophy of encouraging youth and giving them their head has worked. But when the youth got their chance, the senior guys, with the possible exception of Sunil Narayan, just didn't give them the support.
Yeah, and I think just taking a cue from what you said about the catch, Joy, that's going to be a bone of contention because, I mean, it's one thing to have a little bit of a bias, but we heard the commentators, all of whom were an experienced lot. We called it as we saw it, Harsha. And from evidence of...
All I will say, Gautam, as someone who's been a commentator for many years, commentators don't always get it right. Commentators are not the best umpires. So from that point of view, you had to go with the umpire. But the genesis of this lies in what happened a little earlier. At the start of the IPL, I think Virat was upset with the decision a little earlier. Someone else was upset with the decision. And they said there will be no soft signal. And at that time, I had said, no, you have to have a soft signal. It's very tricky when you have a soft signal to a ball that's taken on the boundary because the umpire's got no way to know whether it's right or wrong. But the moment you take away the soft signal, there will be no low catches ever because every single low catch will look not out. That catch, you can see it 100 times. And as I've said this so many times before, you will see what you want to see in that dismissal. If you're the batting side, you will see the ball bouncing on the ground. If you're the fielding side, you will see the fingers underneath. And that is why you must have an instinct soft signal. You can laugh at me and say at that distance, it's tough to have a soft signal, which I'd agree. But I'd much rather you err in favor of the soft signal than otherwise, because this could be in a big final. Everybody knows it's out. It is out. Everybody knows it's out because the fingers are underneath. There's foreshortening. It will always look like it's not out. You always have to see the fingers are underneath. That's what we were told when the close catches came about, when they did the experiment to show that a clean catch with the fingers underneath looked like a bump ball. So they actually took a catch, then filmed it. It looked like a bump ball. So at that point, we were always told as broadcasters that if the fingers are underneath, it is out. And the fingers were underneath. But the moment you go to the third umpire has to prove conclusively that it was out. And you'll never be able to do that. You can see it for another 10 minutes. You could never have been able to tell. And so the moment we saw that, we said, right, it's out with umpires, has to give it not out. And that's why you must have the soft signal.
I'm going to come to you with one more issue. And this is something we can turn into a little bit of a talking point. Harsha's mentioned what this exercise that happened. I was part of another exercise that we did very similarly, where you were trying to educate people about the top angle of a camera and the low angle of a camera where you see it. There's enough technology. There are robot cameras that scour the ground across the boundary, which are just there for fun, essentially. Why would you not have a camera at that angle purely dedicated to getting that lowest angle of catches? Number one. Number two, why would you not have a workshop where you have umpires involved in this way? I'm sure they are involved and they want to do better.
I'm sure
Nobody
they would
wants
be.
to deliberately get it wrong. They're top class umpires. Why would you not involve them in every aspect of broadcast and have them on your side?
No, I think the second part I agree with. The first part is a bit difficult only for one reason, which means the kind of height that you need to give, you need 3-4 cameras because you don't know which angle the catch is going to go. So you'll need 3-4 cameras around the ground at that elevation, all looking downwards. And really, all those cameras come into play only for catches like this. So it's just a resource issue. Of course, it can be solved. This is a problem that can't be solved. It can be solved, but it's a tougher problem to solve just given the fact that you need really big cameras. The second part of it, I completely agree. Umpires must be involved because, again, let's step back a minute. It's like saying television. Everyone knows in television that anyone whose face is thin is going to increase 20%. That's television. These are the rules of television. That's, it's a trick. Finally, your eyes don't see like that. There are certain frames per second which are shown. So everything that you see is your mind is stitching it together, saying, okay, these frames and stitching it together, it's a continuous picture. So again, when you look at things like this, you have to give umpires that first signal there because it's much better than not having a signal there. If you don't have a signal, benefit of doubt will always go to batsman. No third umpire will give a batsman out if he's not sure. Because the rule they've been taught ever since they started umpiring is a bowler, fielders will get another chance, a batsman doesn't get another chance. Benefit of doubt will always go one way. So you have to allow that umpire the soft signal. There's no other solution. Harsha had the solution, there's no other way to do it.
Yep. So I think that's our conclusion.
You've got to
here.
choose the lesser of the two evils. You've got to choose the lesser of the two evils. In a catch inside the circle, the umpire's got a decent idea. The umpire's instinct kicks in. And that's how cricket was played for 100 years. You went with the umpire's instinct. Even today, the reason you have an umpire's call is because when in doubt, you want to go with the umpire. The moment the technology is proven beyond any shadow of doubt, it is only then that you overturn the umpire. That's why you got an umpire's call. Similarly, inside the circle, you go with the umpire's instinct, and the third umpire has to prove conclusively that the on-field umpire was wrong. Otherwise, you go with the on-field umpire. Now, you've got to find the lesser of the two evils between what we saw today and having and not having a soft signal. So the moment they said that there's no soft signal, I said everything will be not out from now on. So you've got to live with that. There's a reason they had soft signals all these years. The soft signal was only brought in to prevent situations like these where everybody knows it's out, but you have no evidence to prove it is out.
The only thing one can say, just to back that up, is that one would assume in a soft signal era that on that occasion, the soft signal, because he hasn't seen it, would have been not out.
Correct.
So in that case,
or the umpire would have gone with his instinct and say, oh, I think the fingers are underneath. Okay, out. So you don't know. Umpires tend to give those out by instinct, but you're right. If the umpire had gone not out, it would have stayed not out. If the umpire had gone out, it would have stayed out.
Also, just the manner in which he came up and felt that he thought he had caught the ball, which again, there was a very interesting difference of opinion in the commentary box between Kevin Peterson and Ian Bishop. Very firm difference of opinion in there. Ian Bishop was like, there is no way. Batsmen don't always know if they've hit it. Fielders don't know if they've always caught it.
Yeah.
KP felt the other.
I will
otherwise.
go with that. Yeah. And I will go with that. At the very little level that I played, the one thing that I was decent at was fielding. I could take catches. And I remember there was this catch that was hit very powerfully. I'm at mid-on. And I picked it up. But at that moment, I was not looking down. I had no idea whether I'd taken it clean or no. As it turned out, it was a clean catch. But I did not know if it was clean or no at that point. Because while I'm going down, my eyes were not right on the ball. I'd just gone by instinct, put my hands forward. It was hit very hard. Anyway, it's not about what cricket I played. I'm just saying that it's happened even to me that I've taken a catch at my level and not known that I'd taken it. So I can completely understand that.
I think it's about, Harsha, all of us as observers of the game. You would have got the university level. I would have got far less than that. But it's just about understanding the movements, the human movements. We could We could play tennis ball cricket and still understand that it's about what we feel instinctively, and we'll just leave it at that for
What
the
I will
moment.
say though, what I will say though is it was 11 from 9 balls. May not have made. I mean, he did hit a boundary after that that made it easier, but it happened at 11 from 9. If it had happened at 36 from 25, then it would have been even bigger controversy.
But I think at the end of the day, whether it was close or not close, it's still a talking point. It's still something. If it needs to be fixed, it should be fixed. And that's all we are putting forward for now. Let's come back to Punjab. That may have been the rub of the green. Don't necessarily use the word luck. Rub of the green going their way. Couple of catches that were put down. Rahul Tripathi was a culprit on 2 occasions. Venkatesh Iyer had a really tough one, which he could have pulled off. But the good thing is, Joy, at least Punjab made use of the chances they had.
Punjab made use of the chances they had. They didn't also. I mean, Nicholas Puran got a start, frittered it away. Aiden Markram got a start, frittered it away. Rahul also should have finished it. All these are situations where you look at them and you say that all these guys should have completed the match for them. But the fact that they got across the line is a huge relief for them. And I'm just looking at this team and saying that now if you take that Nathan Ellis out and you put in a Chris Jordan, this begins to look like a much, much better side. I think Shahrukh Khan has suddenly added to their balance very well. And if you get a Chris Jordan in, gun fielder, I think he'll give you a little bit more in the death overs than perhaps Nathan Ellis is giving you. Arshdeep is bowling beautifully. Shami is bowling well. Bishno is bowling well. Suddenly you have 3.5, 4 bowlers. They could just, I'm not saying they're very far away from where they need to be, but they could just start to threaten if results start to go their way.
Look, since you mentioned the results, I'm looking at the points table. 10. I know that Gautam's going to go to the points table at some point, but look, they're 10 from 12. Okay, we're there. Punjab are 10 from 12. Kolkata are 10 from 12. They've created a little window for Mumbai, but Mumbai's game is against Delhi. And if Mumbai lose that game, it's back to 10 from 12 for everybody. And now Punjab are in the midst of it all. We keep saying all the time. Remember what I said when we started this morning?
Net run rate.
At the end of tomorrow evening. No, but at the end of tomorrow evening, we might have all the qualifiers known. The great thing about this tournament is at the back end, it always gives you a twist. Always gives you a twist. I mean, today, Kolkata win today. Delhi win tomorrow. Chennai win tomorrow, Rajasthan gone, Mumbai gone, Punjab gone. There you go. But there's a twist. There's a twist. It might come down. I remember 2014. Always tell every kid who plays this tournament, remember 2014. Third decimal net run rate made a difference.
Why only the kids? You've got to tell all the grown-ups as well.
Yeah.
And just don't tell Rahul Dravid, please. Please don't tell Rahul Dravid. So.
But yeah, it can come down to that. So you've got to remember the calculators. You've got to remember everything you do in every possible game. There are small games where we said if you're a chasing side, even for Kolkata the other day, they could have won it 3 overs earlier. They labored over it for no reason at all. So all these little things might come back to haunt you. But at the end of the day, it's been Punjab getting over the line. I was just quickly trying to jump on the app to try and see what KL Rahul is saying. And his first line, predictably, heaves a sigh of relief. I'll take the 2 points. Realize it was a decent wicket. Can't experiment too much. When slightly defensive with the ball, wasn't much spin. So I think that is something that we sort of did observe. Wanted to make the batters hit to the bigger side with the bat. We've also given clear roles to players. Obviously wanted to finish games. So I think that's sort of summing up the kind of feeling in their camp, Harsha, is they are relieved to get there. But they'll obviously go back to that drawing board, look at someone like Nathan Ellis, look at the little things they can rectify because they're now on the cusp.
Yes, and if there's anything that can inject self-belief, it is a win like this. And I mean, he's also said left out Harpreet Brar with a very heavy heart. But I mean, I thought Fabian Allen would come in ahead of Deepak Hooda. I could understand Shahrukh coming in. I actually thought Shahrukh would come in at 4. When Markram came in, I thought Shahrukh would come in at 4, saying, okay, you go for it. You get 5 of 2 and you get out, that's fine, but you go for it straight away because I've got someone like Markram who can take the innings through. So, yes, they're starting to have the beginning of a side. It's a little too late in the tournament, though. I mean,
Harsha,
now they need other results to happen. Yeah.
I'm just going to let you continue there with the second line that he said. You were asking the question from the beginning of today. what
Yes.
has Shahrukh been doing in the nets? Why is he not there? Rahul's pretty much answered the question. He said he has been batting, but probably very recently. That's why he's come into the side. Difficult. I mean, we had to see what our best 11 would be with Chris not there. Shahrukh was playing, hitting the ball brilliantly in the net. Saw how strong he is in the first phase. He's asking a lot of questions and wanting to finish games. Today, he played proper cricket shots, got a few boundaries, and we all know he can hit the ball a long way. He's done it for Tamil Nadu. So, obviously, he's probably been playing well in the nets more recently and not earlier than that. But either way, he's come at the right time for Punjab Joy.
Yeah, I have absolutely nothing to say. I have absolutely nothing to say because I think when you look at these situations, you look at what players did on the ground. And Shahrukh in the first phase of this tournament looked as if he belonged. And that's not something you say very easily because there are a lot of youngsters who, say even, you look like an Abhishek Sharma or you look like a Priyamkar. They're there, they'll hit a shot, they'll hit a 4 or 6, but they still don't look as if they belong to that highest stage. But Shahrukh has said something about him that you feel that he belongs there. And I just find his and Ravi Vishnu's exclusion in the first part, I just find it extremely difficult to understand. And of course, Chris Jordan, once he got out of quarantine, Chris Jordan should be an automatic for any team you have because the way he bowls at the death, there are very few bowlers at the death who bowl as well as him. He hasn't been that great in India, but he still is. This is the UAE in the Gulf, and he probably has something in him. I mean, Nathan Ellis wouldn't have played in these conditions ever in his life. Chris Jordan is vastly more experienced. Give him that opportunity. I mean, because you're from Australia or New Zealand doesn't necessarily mean you're a better cricketer. I mean, hard as that is to believe, given the selections we've had today.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
There's plenty of options there for them. And
on the front foot is Mr. Bhattacharjya. How would Ravi said it in commentary? Bhattacharjya on the front foot.
Yes, well, it was Punjab on the front foot today. Kolkata definitely were put on the back foot, whether they chose to be there or not. With 4.5 bowlers, they didn't quite manage to defend a score that we certainly felt was well under par. And Morgan didn't, but we'll leave the analysis for the teams to do on their own. That's as far as this match is concerned. We've
Man of the match was KL Rahul, though.
Man of the match was KL Rahul, expectedly.
I thought for a while he's leaving it till too late, Gautam. I thought he's leaving it till too late. I thought he was putting a little pressure on somebody else to come and finish it, saying, look, I'm batting all the way through. That role does not exist in T20 cricket. Saying, I'll hold one hand up is a line out of cricketing folklore and literature. It doesn't exist in T20 cricket. So I thought he was leaving it till the end. But those couple of boundaries that he hit at the end sort of brought it back. None more than that last ball, I think. Did he hit a boundary of that last
ball 4?
For the 19th over.
19th over, yeah.
So he brought it back there, but if it was 180, I would like to see how he would have batted. But in a run chase, you make 67 out in a 160 run chase. That's a fair call.
And he made up for the fact that he was 28 of 29 deliveries, which is not KL Rahul at all.
I think the role was clearly defined, though. Yeah,
it was.
Sorry,
it was.
I got in the habit of Sorry, go on.
We're having a chat. There's no such thing as an interruption. It's 3 batsmen at the crease. And we've all got people bowling at us.
Mayank Agarwal, 40 of 27. That was the role. The role was that KL Rahul will bat through and Mayank Agarwal would compensate for that by going for it. Now, the two are outstanding combination. So they understand each other's game. KL Rahul could play that game because Mayank Agarwal went 40 of 27 balls. So I'm sure there could be a day when Mayank is not hitting the ball as well, when Mayank goes 20 of 20 balls and KL Rahul is 40 of 20 balls. So
we've seen that.
Got to understand,
We've seen that more often than not in this partnership. We saw it at one time in the Warner Bairstow partnership, in the Warner Shikhar Dhawan partnership, and I think we've seen the sharing happen in any successful partnership. And I'm sure it's going to happen with Ruturaj Gaikwad as well for Chennai at some point. They'll swap roles around. But let's move ahead to what's coming up in another big Saturday doubleheader after we look at the points table one more time. In context, again, of the teams that are about to play. We've sort of seen it with who played today, which was Punjab, sneaking in a couple of points, getting close to Kolkata, only behind them because of that superior net run rate. So it's 3 teams on 10, Kolkata, Punjab and Mumbai play next. They were cheering Punjab, how desperate they would be. The only other development is there's a nice little blue or purple queue, should really ideally be blue and not purple, next to Delhi, along with the queue for Chennai. Still no guarantee of first place or second place, but qualification is guaranteed. Now we move forward to a very business-like weekend, which will start with a double-header on Saturday. The first of the two games in the afternoon, in the searing 40 degrees of the Sharjah heat. It's going to be match number 46, Mumbai taking on Delhi. The two metro cities going head-to-head, and how differently they are placed at this end of the tournament. But we'll come to the next game, which is match number 47. We'll come to that later. First, Harsha, Mumbai versus Delhi. Not quite like we have on this show. It's little Gurgaon versus Mumbai, but we won't get into that for the moment. But it's two teams placed very differently. Delhi have now got that queue. Mumbai are in a position where they're on a slippery slope, but have got the relief of seeing Punjab's 2 points.
Yeah, only two teams can get to 16 now. That is Mumbai and Bangalore. They're the only two teams that can get to 16. So therefore, Delhi are clear with 16. But I think that there should be a little thank you note being sent to Punjab and Kolkata from Mumbai, because some other result has kept them alive. We did say at the start that Kolkata held their fortune in their own hands. They no longer do. And Mumbai's fortune lay in Kolkata dropping a game and themselves winning 3 games. Now, Mumbai are exactly where Kolkata were, with their fate in their own hands. If they win all 3, they go through. But who are they up against? They're up against a team that's qualified. A little blip in their last game, Delhi. But Mumbai beat Delhi, then suddenly they're knocking on the door, because that's a big game to overcome. Delhi beat Mumbai, then Joy will tell you that the dispensations in Kolkata and Delhi have rarely matched. But in this case, Kolkata will go to Delhi and say Dhanyavad.
Yeah, that doesn't happen often, Joy.
No, it doesn't. Correct.
I know. Yeah. Before this, we had 33 years of left front rule. And after that, with the current government, it's about 40 years that they haven't spoken to each other.
But let's just also tell you what the game after that is.
Yeah.
The afternoon game is in Sharjah, Delhi versus Mumbai. Let's tell you what the evening game is. And here it is. This is number 47. This is Rajasthan. We haven't seen them in a while, or so it seems, against Chennai, who we just seen playing there. So once again, it's two extremes. It's a qualified team playing against a team who are just trying to get there. Chennai also, Q, right on top, playing against Rajasthan, desperate to try and get in there, just one place above Hyderabad. Interestingly, Joy, had Hyderabad won their last game, the other scenarios that they wanted are continuing to play out the way they would have liked. So had they stayed alive, they wanted certain teams to stay stuck on 10, and then they would have joined them there. But that's playing out. Unfortunately for them, it's too late because they went and lost that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is, but that's what I was saying. I mean, we were doing the preview, Gautam and Harsha, and I very confidently got the preview, looked at all my stats, and I said, this is the one tournament where the top 4 in the first 3-4 days, the top 4 could run away from the next 4. And then everything turned topsy-turvy. And I promised myself never to make these sweeping IPL predictions again, because this tournament has a habit of surprising you every year. And just look at today's result also. I mean, firstly, Delhi first losing to Kolkata. And then you realize that that's not such an unexpected result because of the conditions and what has happened. And I think even Mumbai is getting a good chance to play against. If you have to play Delhi, I think they'd like to play Delhi at Sharjah. Sharjah is a pitch in which Delhi is perhaps the most uncomfortable.
Well, if that's the match.
You say that they've got Akshar, Ashwin. Who will Mumbai play? But short boundaries, Hardik and Pollard can keep clearing the boundary. Who else do they have? Delhi. Yeah, they don't have. Who are the big hitters? Hetmeyer maybe. Who's clearing the boundary? You need to clear the boundary at all. Is Sharjah becoming a sort of 140 kind of game? In which case you don't need to clear the boundary. So yeah, last time they played Steve Smith, didn't they?
Yeah. See, they like the ball coming on. It didn't work for them. I think the one change that I almost see, I'd be surprised if they don't do it, is play Amit Mishra. Sharjah is made for Amit Mishra. It's just made for him. It's a pitch that they create and they look at Amit Mishra and ask him permission before they make it. So, I mean, I would play him ahead of ahead of Lalit Yadav because I think they have enough batting anyway. If they're not going to do with 7 bats, they're not going to do it with 8. But
And
So
Joy,
you'd
he's the
send
kind of person, Amit Mishra,
uh,
who has no problem, no ego issues. You say that,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
this is the surface made for you. Come and pick up a hat trick here, pick up 4 wickets. You're not playing the next game, by the way. No problem.
still the second highest wicket taker in the history of the tournament. Still, in spite of being in and out for the last couple of years. So it's interesting you're saying Amit Mishra for Lalit Yadav. That means you've got an Akshar batting at 6. Right? So Akshar
Or-
6, Ashwin 7, and Rabada 8. That kind of lineups. You've got 3 quicks. Unless you leave out one of the quicks and play this guy and then play a batsman.
yeah, I would. It might just be Nokia or Ravish Khan who misses out and say, you play 3 Indians. It does 3 international cricketers. It doesn't matter.
They've done that.
And say that, let Nokia rest for a bit and let's give it, because I really think they have to play a good spin on this pitch. 12 overs of spin between Ashwin Aksar and Amit Mishra is going to make it very difficult. And then maybe Lalit Yadav gives you another couple, if you're playing with that kind of a combination. Suddenly that game looks very, very different, because I think last time they were overmatched. They didn't like the Kolkata spin. They didn't like the ball not coming on. And somewhere Prithvi is also losing his concentration. I mean, I think the second half of the tournament has not been Prithvi as we saw him in the first part of the tournament.
Yeah. Is he fit though? I wonder what the status on his fitness is. But he twisted that ankle, so they'll want him up there. Because
That's
Prithvi plays
probably
3-4
what-
overs, he's giving you a start.
Yeah, they were found wanting under those conditions, with Stephen Smith trying to slot in there and Prithvi missing. So if the fitness is right, once you get to that playoff stage, and we know that Delhi have a queue next to them, it's going to be vital for them. But they're up against a side now desperate to win. They're not going to take their feet off the accelerator at all, at Delhi, because they haven't got the Q1, Q2 guaranteed. But for Mumbai, Harsha, this is when they need to get their 11 absolutely right. Nathan Coulter-Nile, good replacement for you last time around?
And took the pace off and did really well. So straight away, what he also does is they like that striker at number 8. So Nathan Coulter-Nile can be that striker at number 8. So they'll be very happy with Coulter-Nile. They might just take a call on Trent Bolt actually to see if the conditions are suiting him. But generally, Mumbai are not known to make too many changes. What we do know, and I think there was something that Jayawardene said today maybe, that I don't see Hardik bowling too much more, because he said it might affect his overall fitness and lose the batsman in Hardik Pandya, which opens up a completely new debate on his role in the Indian side. But if he's not going to play, then they're stuck with 5 bowlers. Whether he can bowl or not is not something we'll look at. Something we'll look at on a daily basis. At the moment, if we push too hard, it might be an issue where he might even struggle and not be an asset as a batsman. I think that is the line that you have to look at. If we push too hard, it might be an issue where he may not be an asset as a batsman. And I think the whole thing is geared towards resting him to play for that T20 World Cup. The question is now whether he will have enough bowling behind him, and is he going to bowl in the T20 World Cup, and whether if he doesn't bowl, there is a replacement for him at number 6. I think you've got to look far and wide to see a batsman like him at number 6. So that's for another day maybe. But tomorrow I don't see him bowling.
Yeah, I think it's, again, we talked about different
Pollard on that
roles for
surface will
different
bowl.
sides.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, maybe for Team India, you can say that he does fit in with a role even as a pure batsman, because he's played that for us in the past. Maybe he doesn't necessarily fit that in a franchise team, because you could have a replacement for him with that extra bowling option.
Or the other way around, in a Mumbai team, on the slow surface in Sharjah, Kieron Pollard will give you 2 overs. What did he say the other day? I may not have pace, swing or seam, but I have brains. So he could give you 2 overs. The moment you go to India, there is nobody in the top 5 who can give you even 1 over. And that is where the problem lies with the balance. That is why Hardik is being given such a long rope. Hardik and Jadeja 6 and 7 is key to the balance of that side. So that is why they're giving him such a long rope. But for this Sharjah game, I think they'll be happy playing the same side with Pollard giving them a couple of overs if required.
Yeah, there's one change I was thinking about. I was thinking about what change could you do given the circumstances. And the only 2 that came to mind, and the first seems a bit more likely, is to play Jayant Yadav instead of, say, a Trent Bolt.
You
And say
answered
if
my
a Bolt
question
is
before
not.
I asked it.
But the only thing is that I'm just looking at the Delhi batting unit, and there aren't too many left-handers up front. There aren't that many left-handers up there in the order. So, except for Hetmeyer, I don't think anyone in the top 6 is left-handed. So,
Shikhar Dhawan.
Dhawan.
Shikhar Dhawan there. 2 of them are there. 2 of the top 6
and
are
Pant.
left-handed.
And
Rishabh
Pant.
Pant.
Oh yes, of course. Okay, Jayant Yadav comes into play. My apologies.
There
Jayant
you go.
Yadav definitely comes into play. I would look seriously at Sharjah at Jayant Yadav because he bats a bit also. Therefore, he gives him a bit more, and take off that bowler. Open with this thing. You have Nathan Coulter-Line out there. You have Jasprit Bumrah. You have some good spin. The only problem then is they don't have a third seamer. Pollard being their whatever little third seam that they can do. That is something I'm not sure Bombay is totally comfortable with as a team.
Yeah.
Even in
Usually
Sharjah?
they don't. They always seem to have third seamer. I mean, all Hardik is doing it for them.
Always.
I haven't seen them ever play with just 2 seamers.
Well, it'll be
So
interesting.
that's
to
the
see
only
if they can
reason.
do it. We've got both the 2 Yadav brothers. They're not related, of course. Just saying it. Lalit Yadav, Jayant Yadav are going to be the 2 key men to see if they get into their respective sides or not. We feel at least one of the 2 will, but there's a possibility both might, just because of the circumstances. Will Mumbai go with 2.5 seamers? That is up to us to see tomorrow. That's what we feel as far as this is on the eve of the game. Let's just get the answer to the question, because remember, for all of you, it was kind of a 2-part question. We asked the question earlier, little addendum done later. So we're going to actually be unearthing 2 winners, or at least mentioning 2 names. And we're going to figure out who those 2 are. Let's first give you what the answer is. This was, of course, IPL hat tricks. 2 people in question, Shreyas Gopal and Harshal Patel.
Yeah, the first hat trick obviously was taken by Balaji, who's a member of the Chennai coaching staff. The 5th was taken by Rohit Sharma, unbelievably. And that 2009 season had 3 hat tricks, 2 by Yuvraj Singh, 1 by Rohit Sharma. What are the odds on that? And obviously the third last was Sam Curran.
There you go. So,
Good
who
on,
are the
good on,
guys
good
who
on. I
are
was trying
getting
to think what it
mentioned?
could be.
And
Akhil.
so we've got
Akhil.
So this is a new one. This was the first answer that was said. There were, of course, a couple who pointed out that it was which were the teams that were pointed out.
Yeah, I think Tanmay pointed out, and as did a couple of the others, that I got it wrong because I put the team as Rajasthan, which Rajasthan is, of course, I was alluding to Shreyas Gopal, and I changed the question that instead of asking for the last one, I'd asked for the last 2, and that's how it came out. My apologies, but as I said, they're good enough to even spot the problem, and we give it. Even the question is even incorrect, they can correct me, tell me what the right question is, and point me in the right direction. So yeah, fantastic. All you guys playing this game out there, you're fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. And there was a logjam of people trying to get in there. We did say that we will try and mention one more winner. So we've got a little preview to do for the second part of the doubleheader tomorrow. So we'll see if from the back end, before we finish the show, we can actually pull out the name of whoever answered it first during our mid-show. Might be a little tough one to do. So in case we get it by then, we'll answer your name. If we don't, look out for your name tomorrow. You'll get a special mention for telling us the answer after hearing the slightly amended version of the question. So let's go on to the second question.
Faster way to do it would be to tell each guy to say, were you the first? Because they'll have looked at the order in which it appeared and they'll know exactly who the first was.
Yeah, but the good thing is hashtag Cricbuzz Live. You just scroll up and down, see who answered it first at the time when our mid-show was on, and we could get that in. So they're working in it furiously at the back end. Let's work furiously at the front end and tell us what the second match is. Again, 2 ends of the table. Chennai playing Rajasthan. Chennai with that Q, not quite sure of a Q1 or Q2. So they're not exactly going to be resting everybody, but they might be just making the odd change here and there. Abu Dhabi, match number 47. Number 47 is special to one man, DJ Bravo. He wears that number with pride. One of my questions for you, gentlemen, is does he get one more game, or do you then now try and hold him back for the playoffs?
I guess it depends. That's the call that the physio, the captain on the ground, and Bravo is a very responsible senior player himself. That is a call that they will take. If they do think that the more rest he needs, the better he is, because he's in rhythm, he's in form. He's delivered a 3 for 24. He's delivered a 2 for 17. He's delivering these spells. So if he thinks he's in rhythm, they need one more game off. It'll also allow Sam Curran. If Sam Curran delivers a good performance, then they've got another option going into the into what do they call it? The business end of the tournament, because everything else is purely for charity. So, but they might play Sam Curran. It makes sense to play Sam Curran.
It does. One person who hasn't sort of got a look in this time, and he's been such an impact for them earlier, is Lungisani and Gidi. But I guess it's just about the surfaces. It's about the fact that they've got both Shardul Thakur and Deepak Chahar bowling so well. They haven't really needed him. So it's just
Hazelwood.
one of those. And Hazelwood. We should not forget Hazelwood. So Hazelwood plus the two Indian seamers, and then DJ Bravo at the back end, and then Jadeja, and enough resources. Just the opposite of what Kolkata had today. Enough resources to bowl for them. In the opposition, Rajasthan got a few problems. How are they going to address that in time? Because this could just be their last chance to pick up a couple of points and stay alive. We've had the odd game for Tabraiz Shamsi. We've seen Chris Morris not being at his best. Fizz has been brilliant. Liam Livingstone's almost been absent. How they would love him to come to the party, Joy.
Yeah, I think they'll still play with him because they don't have that top order batsman. The option is David Miller, who's, I think, really in the past, and they want to evaluate where Liam Livingstone is. He's looked good in the nets, apparently. He's just not been performing. So somewhere there, I would look at giving young Shivam Dubey a chance at some point in time. I think he deserves a chance. Plus, I think with these kind of pitches, he might give you a little bit more in the ball, the kind of cutters he bowls. And I find it difficult to believe that somebody who was seriously being considered for India role in that sixth position as a rival to Hardik Pandya is now struggling to make it in his own franchise. I mean, it may tell you something about how he's playing in the nets, but it also may tell you that perhaps Rajasthan needs to be a little bit more flexible about its rotation policy or its selection policies. But this team, otherwise, lots of problems. But see, they're being carried. Basically, whatever little they've done is because of Sanju Samson up front and some fantastic performances from Mustafizur, I think, and Kartik Tyagi. I mean, these are the 2-3 players who've been delivering from them. They need to have more people. Chetan Sakaria, perhaps. They need to have more people giving them. Even Rahul Tewatia has looked a shadow of the player he was the last time.
Yeah, I mean, Rahul Tewatia was supposed to go to Sri Lanka, only didn't go because he failed a fitness test or something. But if you look down there, Evan Lewis has produced one good innings. Yashasvi Jaiswal has produced one. Lomror has produced one. Sanju Samson has produced more than one. Sakaria has done all right. Tyagi has delivered a win. Fizz has been excellent. And yet the sum of the parts is not adding up to a really big whole. Look, Liam Livingstone gets into the side in my book only if he's bowling now, because he's had enough chances, but they rate him as both an off spinner, leg spinner. Maybe on these tracks they might use him for a couple of overs and give him one more go. And I agree. It's tough to play the Riyan Parag kind of role where you're really a 1 or 2 over bowler, so you can't create an impact there. Your impact has to be with the bat, and you've sort of got typed as a number 6 batsman. So given that he's not taken his chances so far, I think it's fair to give Shivam Dubey that slot, and then hope that Dubey will give you a little bit more with the ball than who?
Riyan Parag.
Riyan Parag. See how you forget. Then Riyan Parag does all my advancing years.
But yeah, I mean, I mentioned in the last game about Livingstone as a bowler, and I don't think the franchise seems to rate him. Maybe he does not bowling enough in the nets. One final name in there, Joy. Is Chris Morris only hanging on because of his purse?
Chris Morris, my problem is that he's not doing enough. And as a bowler, and most of the bowlers who've been looking at it, whether it's Dooley, all the bowlers look at him and say, he's not there. He's sort of falling off. He's not getting that thing.
But the real question is, if he came for $1.5 crore as a steal, would you not then bench him and play O'Shane Thomas or Tabraiz Shamsi?
Okay, that's what I want to talk to you about. I would bench him anyway, because if you're playing him because you paid 16 crores for him, it's something called the sunk cost fallacy. You've already paid for him. It doesn't matter. Your job now, that loss has happened already. Now it's your job to select the best team possible, in which case you will select the best player. Just because you've sunk 16 crore into him shouldn't take him. Sunk cost fallacy is one of the biggest problems, and we do it all the time, that just because I've already put in so much money, I mean, I remember my son came to me and he was wanted to study medical, and we paid for these very expensive Akash tutorials. And then 3 months later, he said, "Look, Dad, it's not my thing." And I had two options: to tell him to say, "No, you're going to finish these 2 years," or to turn around and say that if he really doesn't like it, why am I making 1.5 more years of his life miserable because I've already put money into it? So that's wasting more than 3 months. So exactly there, cut your losses. You've already got a loss.
What you did inadvertently was add to that astonishing valuation that saw them get a great price from Byju's. You contributed to that valuation. Akash, right? $950 million, the same Akash classes, $950 million. Joy, set up a quiz business and sell it to Byju's.
I tell you.
You
You're
contributed
giving me
to it.
ideas now.
Lots of business opportunities. Chris Morris, look what you've done. Just one little conversation about you, and we've got everybody talking. The point is, I'm not sure every franchise understands that fallacy because they tend to play players based on the fact that, listen, we've paid and he kind of needs to stay on the park. But we'll leave that alone. Hopefully, Chris Morris will deliver. If Rajasthan were to win, still keeps things open in that middle. And we'll have one less team on 10 points. That's all we have today. Just a reminder once again, if you're into economics and those fallacies, you probably might find that on our Cricbuzz Plus section, because you never know what you could when you talk about cricket reaching out and getting those little extras. Lots of fun interviews, lots of articles. It's worth getting there and getting a little bit extra out of everything. Well, we did promise that, but since it's already past midnight, we know at some point today, I'm keeping my promise. We're going to dig out that name of the person who answered the first question in our mid-show, and we're going to flash it for you tomorrow during the first of our 2 games. For now, it's just about time to say on a national holiday, the 2nd of October, to say thank you to Joy and to Harsha, and we'll have lots and lots of cricket for you tomorrow. Today, doubleheader coming up. That's all from Cricbuzz Live in association with our fantasy partner, My 11 Circle.